everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. What's happening, gentlemen?
It's only Tuesday morning. Don't worry. We'll get this up off the ground without a hitch sooner than later.
Probably next
What's up, Herb?
What is up, man? You've got the most energy this morning. We gotta reach your level, man. Hold on, let me. All right, I'm working on it. I'm gonna get there.
Energy is never my problem.
I love it, man. I love it.
You got to finish that up with the yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh man. So we had the combine, and we'll chat about Kraken a little bit later. But we had the combine over the weekend, and some teams view it more higher than I do, right? Like in my mind, pro days, combine, they don't mean a ton to me, right? I tend to like to believe the tape we watched during your college career. That being said, there are some guys that stand out during the combine that are impressive. Usually it's like a 40 time or a bench or something like that, where you're like, oh, okay, this guy might be a little stronger or faster or whatever than I thought. And for the first one for me is the running back Love out of Notre Dame, right? He hits it was a 4.38, I think it was, which for running back is insane. Usually they're like a 4.4 something, right? Right at 4.4. So to have your running back hit a 4.3 is really impressive. He was probably going to be a top 10, top 12 prospect anyway, but that just almost solidifies that he's a top 10 pick.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of talk of like the Chiefs trying to get him at 9. And it's like after the run, Chiefs fans are posting, I don't know if he's still going to be there at that point. So that's how big that run was for sure. What's up, man?
Yeah, the Eagles are never. We're not in the running back market at the moment, anyways, so it doesn't really matter for us. I've been watching. I've been paying a little bit more attention to the guys that are going to get dropped, and I'm still on the Crosby Brown saga. Like the AJ Brown and Crosby, and how their teams don't want to trade them unless they get ridiculous hauls. The Eagles finally came up with a number
for Brown
for that. Yeah, for AJ Brown. So I haven't gotten into some of the results of the combine yet. Because all I care about are how well. The only thing I heard about is that the undersized offensive linemen who can move pretty agile and had like an under 5, like he had a 4.93 or something like that, 40-yard dash, which is fast for a lineman, but he's 293 pounds and how that's undersized. Yeah. And I think of Jason Kelce and how he was like really 287 to 295 pounds, somewhere in that range, and how agile he was. And that the Eagles were looking to move Cam Jordan to guard rather than center, and bring in a new center, which is interesting to me. So that's where that guy who is very agile comes into play for me. That undersized might actually have him fall to the second or third round.
Yeah. I mean, for Seattle, we are in the running back market, but not for a top 10.
No.
So
this is not like a let's move up and get this guy situation. It's definitely like a, hey, do we have that need? And we are already in the top 10. I think that's why the Chiefs, had that luxury a little bit more than a lot of these other teams. There'll be other teams in the top 10, but they're, running back is still not a premium position. It's hey, this might cap off my Super Bowl team, kind of like how Philly was when they got Saquon, versus this guy's going to be the centerpiece. And I think you saw with the Raiders drafting a running back in the top 10 and not having a team around him, that running back is just set up to fail miserably. So it's still early. But no, he actually happened to be watching because of Alabama players. We were actually watching the combine, which is always weird because you get one glimpse of the guy you're watching, and then it might be 15 to 20 more minutes before you see that person again or get to see anything else. But he did well. And on a personal, Jam Miller, he ran a little bit faster, I think, than we thought. Alabama fans were like, he never ran that fast when he was here. So,
I mean, you're also doing it without pads, and there's no defense.
A lot easier. So
yeah,
but,
I mean, it's why they call it the Underwear Olympics, right? Like you're in the most favorable type of situation to do these things. So a lot of times when you see, they're like, oh yeah, he's so fast, and it's like, okay, but what's his game speed? And then there's the guys that have a really bad 40, and then you watch him on the field and be like, man, he's much faster on the field than it was in his 40.
Yeah. There's guys that have a nose for the ball. So if you throw it up there, all of a sudden it like turns on versus just running out there. So Love was great though in college. I still think he's probably the only running back going in the first round. So
he's probably the only one. Yeah, I mean, the 40 time was just the cherry on top, right? He's the only one going in the first round for sure. The next closest guy is, one of the guys that I'm looking at for potentially the Seahawks. There's kind of two guys that I think will be that mid-second round type of talent, mid to late second round, which is, where they're picking. Katron Allen from Penn State, good running back, good vision, kind of a shifty runner, and can catch. So that's something that, he would have a little bit better than Walker did, right? Walker didn't exactly have the best hands ever. And of course, I'm saying this like he's already off the team, but let's be real, Walker's off the team. Right?
Walker's cleaned out.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like, hey, yeah, up top, way to get that MVP. See you later. Like, but
you don't even think they'll give him, like, they're not going to give him any type of offer at all?
Oh, they'll give him an offer. Yeah. No, they'll give him an offer. I imagine they're going to give him something in the $8 million range. That would be probably the top end for Seattle. See, the thing is he had an amazing 3 to 4 weeks, and he wins the Super Bowl MVP. All of that is awesome. But then in that same note, you're looking at the injury history over the last 3 years, the fact that you drafted him second round, and then you went and drafted another one second round anyway. Right. There was talks throughout the year that Charbonnet was going to take over running back one duties until he got hurt. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that went on during the season that you can't just forget because you had a great postseason and you win Super Bowl MVP, right? So that's where I think he gets an offer. I don't think it's anywhere near what he's going to be able to get somewhere else, because somewhere else he's going to get 10, right? 10, maybe even a little bit more. So that's not something Seattle's going to do, not only because of his history here, but just the history Seattle has. Like when you look at what Seattle typically does, and this is under Schneider, so the coach doesn't matter in this equation, right? We have a real tendency to have a guy here. They get hurt a lot, and we don't pay him. We get him out of town. So, it's just what John Schneider has done during his tenure in Seattle. So I expect him to be gone. And that's where, you start looking at a guy like Katron, because he's going to be that second round caliber guy. And, he does have a high catch rate. He rushed for 1,300 yards. He is a guy that can be the bell cow, but also works well in a running back by committee, which is what Seattle typically tends to do. The other one that will be a second round-ish kind of guy, probably late second round, is Jonah Coleman. That's right here out of the UW. And also, he's a powerful runner. So you get some of that element from from Walker there. He does.
How old is Walker? 26,
something like
27?
that. Yeah, 26, 27. Yeah, because this is after his first contract. Or this
Yeah,
is gonna be his first real
there's
one.
a piece of me that thinks that you guys are going to give him an offer that he may wind up taking. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a 3-year with incentives. It could be up to as much as like 30, 31 million, giving him a $21 million signing bonus, which is $10.5 million for 2 years, really.
Yeah.
That's really how that comes out to. And that's not unrealistic. You're giving that third year to give you that extra cushion so that it only comes out to like $7 million a year when it comes to the guaranteed money. And you're giving him, like I said, with the incentives, if he, let's say, if he gets the second team or a first team Pro Bowl like selection and stuff like that, that he can make a lot of money, but
Sure.
it's all incentive laden, and you can keep it at somewhere around the $9 million mark.
There you go, 25. Yeah, no, and that's the thing is he's young. Like this is his first contract off of his rookie deal. So
Right.
I'm not saying there isn't upside to it. Of course there is. And he may take a little bit less to stay in a contender. Like that may very well be a thing. But he's going to get better offers elsewhere.
Yeah. And as a running
Yeah,
back, you have to take better offers elsewhere. Like your shelf life is a lot less than everybody else. So if you're, like you said, if Seattle's at 8, incentive laden, somebody else is at 10, 10.5, like you have to jump for 10.5, especially if you're already injury prone before this and you really capitalize on the best of, of this situation with Charbonnet getting hurt, And then to Bo's other point, if I think Charbonnet is going to take over, I'm probably happily taking a second or third round back to kind of fill in, and not worry about it. It's kind of like what I think the Lions are about to do.
Plus
Hey,
he
we
did
get rid of
already,
Montgomery.
and he already got a ring.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like you're like, okay, I need to hang out because I want to win a ring during my career. You got one on your rookie deal. Now you're being set up to make the most, if you can cash in, it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see that. I just, I know that they only give running backs 3-year deals. They don't ever go really a 4th year. It's just not something that you really see very often. And, to say that you're going to pay a running back 12, 13, $14 million a year, I don't see that. Saquon's getting $12 million a year. 2 years ago, he was the best running back in the game. Last year, he didn't have the same type of season, which I get after running, close to 2,500 yards, whether you're catching the ball or running the ball, you're tired the next year.
Yeah.
And I have my own theories on why he wasn't as good. That being said, now that you have Walker, I mean, he's still going to get a 3-year deal. If somebody pays the $36 to $39 million for him, that's overpaying, because just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, running backs were getting underpaid. Like It was just not that type of money. And realistically, when you think about the compensation that Seattle would get by only signing, even if he signs a $12 million deal, he's not getting the 3rd round pick that you're getting for like a defensive lineman who's signing for $30 million or $25 million a year. You're going to still wind up getting like a 5th round compensation pick. So I don't know if that's enough. Like that.
Is that me or is him?
Sorry, I was a call coming in.
It happened to all of us at the same time. I was like, whoa.
And there was like a weird pop. So it's just like, did my stuff just break? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel that, like I said, it's not the spots where I think that you'd be able to keep him and him be worth more to your franchise rather than losing him, trying to pick up somebody else. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Running backs seem to do well up in Seattle, so it's a whole different world to me in comparison to like the Eagles, where running backs come and go a little bit. And, it's like I feel like that they they don't utilize the running backs the way I would like them to sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously when you had the best running back and you got somebody who went over 2,000 yards and we get to win a ring and stuff like that, whole different scenario than, you know, what you guys go through. So
gets an 11-year on the Chiefs. Yeah, they do some goofy voidable contracts. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously things are different here in the Northwest because we rely heavily on the run game, and that hasn't really mattered which coach has been here. You know, whether it was back in the 80s and it was Chuck Knox, good old ground Chuck, that was still run first. You know, like we've always kind of been that run first team, run first in defense. Like that's been the thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I just don't see him getting the money here in Seattle. And again, just strictly because we have a lot of history of that just not working out. Now, if he wants to stay on the contender, take a little less guarantee, then yeah, I mean, they're going to offer him something. Like, I'd be surprised if they're just like, yeah, kick rocks, dude. Like, I don't see him doing that, but yeah, it's I don't see a scenario where he actually stays unless he just wants to take less money. Moose, he after that run, he's going to be a top 10 pick. Like he was going to be a borderline top 10 anyway, but after running a 4.3, yeah, he's going to be a top 10 pick. KC would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, that's if he gets to 9 now. So there are actual legitimate worries for them now because I think that's who they had fallen in love with. So,
yep. Well, and those combines and pro days, they can really move you around a draft board. Anthony Richardson always comes to mind. You know, that was a 3rd round grade in my mind, and then he gets picked 4th overall by the Colts. So, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that he told him to test free agency because they're just not going to give him the biggest offer. So if money is what he's going for, he will not be in Seattle.
What were your thoughts on the Lions trading Montgomery to the Texans?
So funny is there was rumors that Seattle was thinking about Montgomery, and which I thought was ridiculous. If you're going to spend the 2-year $18.5 million for him, just keep Walker at that point. Right? Like that didn't make any sense. So as soon as those rumors started swirling, I was like, that is the dumbest pickup ever. You have a guy that knows your system that just won an MVP. Why would you make that shift to a guy that's unhappy wanting to force his way out of somewhere? It's not like he's going to want to come into another situation where he would be, you know, running back by committee. So for him to go to the Texans, you know, that's great. Plus Seattle didn't have the picks to go get him anyway. We have 4 draft picks this year. So, I mean, it's not like you could give up a lot to go get him. And then why would you give up draft picks to go get a guy that puts you in the same financial position as the guy you could just keep? Right. So, yeah, that didn't make sense. It does make some sense for the Texans, though.
Yeah. And I also saw the Lions side of it, too. I honestly think they're just going to say, okay, we're going to draft a guy lower. We're going to put a little bit, you know, more on, I guess, the Sonic part of this, the do it. What's up, Nick? And draft a later running back to go along with him. So that's what I felt like they were getting there. But yeah, for the Texans for sure. But then they also didn't they trade away a lineman too as well, the Texans. So I don't know. It feels like every year they're still going through it with their line. So I don't know why. Why we're actually necessarily getting a running back, but
they shipped an O lineman to Detroit, which made sense. You know, the way that the Lions looked this year, they could use some depth at the, you know, on the line. So I actually didn't mind that trade for either side. Mm-hmm. You know, if you got
it was a surprise, the timing, like it just came out of nowhere. You know, I wasn't thinking about it, but after I saw it, I was like, yeah, Gibbs is going to be your guy. You'll get another, you know, running back cheap to kind of, you know, just offset him or just so he's not just having to run every single time, maybe a big bruiser or something, you know, in the Montgomery kind of mold. but for sure, yeah, it's not a total shock that he's gone.
Yep.
They're about to have to pay a whole bunch of other people, or in the process of paying all those people. You know, can really like start reaching out to pay your running back, your second running back at that.
Yeah, Dustin, I mean, you're not wrong. That being said, the Texans aren't a bad team. It's not like he went to the Browns or something.
Right. You could argue last year if CJ Stroud doesn't go just totally terrible, that, you know, they had a shot at that of coming out of the AFC. So
I actually had them going to the Super Bowl. So it was, I thought that they were the best defense. And realistically, if, you know, the defense quit at the end, you know, like that's what they're just like, all right, we're exhausted because you keep giving the ball away. And we have to only, you know, defend 25, 30 yards. It was just like, he had what, just about like 8 or 9 turnovers in the 2 playoff games.
Yeah.
You know
it was rough.
It was really
and some
too
of them
much.
were like inexcusable, you know, turnovers. Like, this is a play that's getting us 2 yards if you throw a turnover. It was just
I liked
wild.
My favorite turnover of his was in the I think it was the Steelers game where he was like, okay, my guy, defender, pow, and you're just like, what are you doing? Like, there wasn't any of your guys even close to him.
Yes.
So, but I mean, other than that, Mr. Alabama fan, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this mock draft, you know, and mock drafts are just that, they're mocked up.
Whenever someone starts off Mr. Alabama fan, this is about to be bad, isn't it?
Well, no, well, that just tells me that you pay more attention to college sports than I do. It has here the number 3 pick, the number 4 pick, and the number 5 pick are all Ohio State players,
right?
And all revolved around the defense. You know, first off, did Ohio State have that great of a defense that they deserve to have 3 of the top 5 first-round picks?
Well, I think you got to remember when they won the title, and that was just 2 years ago, they were paying for the best players, and, you know, they had the highest payroll in the league. So there's a lot of that is carryover from there. Because then I haven't looked at the 2, but I'm assuming Downs is in there, and he was considered one of the best. So yes, they had a great defense. And you got to remember
was the number 4,
3, right? So and that's for a safety. That's amazing. But getting, you know, just, we're not saying their whole 11 was great, but 3 out of your 11, 4 out of your, like, that's still a great number for what you were paying for. And you just won a title a year ago. And the team that won it all, you held to what, 13 points in the Big Ten championship game? So their defense was definitely no slouch. I'd have to look at their numbers, but I'd be shocked at how many times somebody hit over 20 on them for this entire year. Like, Miami game wasn't a blowout, right? It was just a tough game. But Ohio State had a great defense.
Well, it was a defensive battle. I thought that Miami really was able to do when they wanted to play, because that's really what it came down to. I feel like that their losses were on weeks where they just kind of mailed it in. You know, that when they wanted to play, that they could play for the national championship. And I feel like that they landed right where they were supposed to, that they were quite possibly the number 1 defense in college football, you know, Miami, and that was strong enough to be able to get them to a national championship, because in college football, nobody plays defense, as far as I'm concerned. You know, so, and that's,
well, I don't know, your top teams that made it played defense, you know. So Miami was not like an offensive juggernaut like people are saying in there. You know, they had maybe 2
they were not
skill position players and Beck, who you never knew what you were getting from, but they built strong on the lines and played great defense. And like somebody already said there, Indiana number 1 defense, Ohio State number 2 defense. Ohio State only lost 2 games all year, and that's coming off of a championship year where they only lost 2 games to turn it on the playoffs. So no, they had one of the best rosters 2 years ago. They, you know, kind of sustained. They just ran into, you know, the wood chipper that was Miami, but there were several people picking an Indiana Ohio State rematch in the national championship game, and I don't think that was unwarranted at all. I don't know if I was listening, so I didn't see if you popped up Robert's comment about, hey, Mr. Alabama fan?
Yeah, I did.
Tell me about Ohio State. Okay. Thank you, Robert.
That's why I just randomly started laughing. Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, interestingly enough, and I think of Alabama as also one of the powerhouses in college football, even though, they didn't do as well as they probably were projected at the beginning of the season. As I'm looking through this, and I'm looking at this mock draft here specifically, I do not see Alabama's name, throughout the list. And I'm already at 24 is the first one that I see in Alabama,
right?
And it's an offensive lineman.
Caden Proctor, yeah. You basically have two shots at the first round if you're Alabama. Ty Simpson, by virtue of being the number 2 quarterback, in Caden Proctor. And I think what DeBoer is getting a lot of heat, right, about his team, but you have to go look, because what do we have, like 1, maybe 2 first rounders last year? People think that it was just super stocked with talent, and you're at a spot where, Nick, that's what I was thinking. So, 100%. You have to look. The cupboard was not super stocked when DeBoer took over, and there are these people who seem to think that we've had a juggernaut team, and you're looking at like 1 first rounder every year versus these other teams, like with Ohio State, you saw like 4. There was not a whole lot of talent. There is still, it was good talent. Don't get me wrong. We weren't like, a 2-10 team, but it's not a whole lot of top level talent. And it doesn't surprise me. And I think some fans need to look at, they're trying to blame a lot on DeBoer, but you kind of have to look at what he was left, because he's still only a recruiting class in. His second recruiting class is about to hit campus right now. You can't put that all on his shoulders and then go look and go, hey, how come we only have 2 first rounders? Well, and that's only possible 2 first rounders, Mm-hmm. Ty Simpson, there's still a lot of questions about, people are asking about. He has solidified himself as the number 2, but the fact that the Jets were going to take a quarterback at number 2 until Dante Moore dropped out, and they're like, we'll just figure it out. That tells you a lot about the gap between number 1 and number 2. So we'll see. But we cap out at 2. If Proctor and Ty both go, then we get 2 first rounders. If one of them slides out of the first round, then we don't. So.
Yeah. The Ty Simpson thing is very interesting, right? Like, he's QB2 by a long ways, right?
Right.
And then you see he could be in the top 5. There's also projections that he could fall into the late 20s. And so, I mean, that's such a wide swing for, for a guy that doesn't have, outside weirdness around him, right? So you're not thinking of the Shadors, where like goofy outside stuff really affects the draft stock up and down. So with Ty, you're talking about almost an entire round difference. And they're like, oh yeah, he could be top 5 pick. He could be early day 2. And you're like, wow, like that's a big swing.
It is. I think there's 0% chance he goes top 10. So I think you're maybe starting at wherever the Rams and the Jets are pick is at 11 and 12, 12 and 13. I think it starts there. So like he can still end up on the Jets, but not with their first pick. But I think the Rams, the Jets, and the Steelers have been the most mocked to him. I love
Rams, the Rams 13. The Rams are 13. Jets are 16.
16. Okay, so a little lower than
Steelers are 20.
So that's probably a perfect spot, like in that range, to where you're not overreaching. And then those are the situations where, I mean, obviously, I hope he doesn't go to the Jets because that's just where quarterbacks go to die. Like 100%. If Ty goes to the Jets, he won't be good for another 6 or 7 years when he's on his next team. But the Rams is a great situation. Sit behind Stafford for a year for sure. And I don't know what I think about the Steelers, especially with the regime change. But any situation where he doesn't have to start the first year, I think would be good for him. But no, it is a wild, wild swing.
I mean, only I don't know, in the last 10 years or so, only the quarterback that you guys got rid of is the one that's won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Say it again?
Yeah, only the quarterback that Alabama got rid of has won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's always funny you say got rid of because he graduated from Alabama. He won a title with Alabama. I mean,
got taken off the field though to do that.
We did, yeah. Well, do you think it was the wrong decision? I mean, he had 0 points at halftime. We were down 13-0. What would you have done?
Well, I don't know. I first off, I don't know enough about college football. He was down 13-0, but Alabama was a second half team that entire year, most of the time. So they came out slow always, and then went on strong. So
yeah, but the last couple of games, like the loss to Auburn at the end of the year too, like it was just bad. There was opportunities there, and it wasn't hitting. So I think if you don't do that, you don't get that win, and you probably don't get the best play in Alabama history either. So I feel like it's the right decision. You got a national championship. It's hard to say should have done something different when you won the game and when
you get the ring. So
yeah. And Rob, no, I don't think the Hawks stay in the first round. I actually think they trade back and give up that last spot in the first round to somebody that wants the 5th-year option on a guy. Because of the fact they only have 4 picks, I think they're going to drop back into the second round and pick up like a 4th rounder just to get some extra picks in this draft. Because as it sits right now, you have a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 6th, and that's it. So, no, anybody that's in the first round that you think might drop to you, it's not going to matter for the Hawks.
Yeah, and that's actually a Bill Belichick move.
Yeah.
Well, and we routinely dropped out because we've been picking in the early to mid 20s for a decade, and so we drop out of the first round all the time because we like to grab those extra mid-round picks.
Right.
So yeah, I would not be shocked if we do the same thing. Exactly.
Yep.
No.
And don't get lost in this. We love Jalen, right? Like we were rooting for him in the Super Bowl.
Yes. No. I know that you guys still claim him. So it's not. There's enough people that I know that are Alabama fans that have a hard time loving the Eagles because there's also a lot of Georgia players that are on the Eagles. So it's
I have no problem with that. Like I root for the Eagles, mostly because of Jalen and Devontae. But I have no problem though with the Eagles. I think it was like a lot of Auburn players on there that we'd have trouble with the Eagles. But as far as Georgia, like I don't care.
Well, and Devontae, I still think is the best wide receiver on this squad, including AJ Brown. So, and I the one thing that I, am. There's been so much talk about whether AJ Brown's going to stay or go, and
do you want him gone?
I don't. I think that again, kind of along the same lines, you can't just get rid of great players. And even though the last 4 games last year show that maybe he wasn't at his greatest, he's still an amazing player. And unless you're getting something that's really ridiculous in return, you can't just get rid of him because he seems to make some noise. And the truth of the matter is that as much noise as he's making, the locker room is he's still a great teammate. So all the noise he's making is only on the outside looking in.
I got you. Not
the inside where he's creating a cancer. And that's what matters to me more. It doesn't matter to me. You want to make weird tweets. You want to say weird things to the media. You want to be very cryptic where everybody's got to read into what it is that you're saying. He's happy, he's unhappy. Listen, he's a wide receiver, and most wide receivers are, I could say almost like bipolar. That they love it, they hate it, they hate it. You know what I mean? And it's they're always like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of situation there.
Yeah. Because they rely on so much other stuff to get, for them to have a great game. It's like this doesn't happen, and they don't throw me the ball, and we don't do this, I don't get the ball. So let me get some attention on myself.
There's unfortunately, there's a lot of me rather than we when it comes to receivers. Because you could win and they could be mad, or they could get their touches in a loss and they're like, I had a great game. It's like, you realize the goal is to win, right? Like, but and Rob, yeah, obviously we hope Milroe works out. I doubt they move him. And the reason for that is this is the last year of Drew Lock's contract as our backup. So they're probably going to want to see how Milroe looks during preseason and kind of as the year goes on. He's got a 4-year rookie deal. So if you at the end of this year don't think his progress has come, then you re-sign Locke and you let Milroe go.
Right.
If you like his progression, then you let Drew Lock go back out into the world, and you've elevated your backup quarterback. So I don't think they move him this year. If they move him, it would probably be at the end of next season.
Who's trading a third for him if you haven't seen him in a year though? Too.
Somebody that needs somebody cheap, right? Especially because you can get third rounders as comp picks. Right. So if you made some moves or you elevated a coach or something like that, where you got a third round comp, then you may give up something like that because it was a gifted, pick anyway. So it just kind of depends on what it is the team's looking for. But someone potentially could. I just don't think he is really a moving piece this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I would think. I would think you'd hold him at least one more to see what you have. So and you knew he was developmental when they drafted him. I think everybody thought, do not let Milroe start year one and see what you can come up. As you brought up earlier, the Anthony Richardson case comes to mind. So
exactly. I mean, they're similar in that way, right? Like tons of athletic upside, very unpolished when it comes to actually distributing the football. And so the biggest difference is he got to come to Seattle and do the developmental end of it, right? Where there was no danger of him starting. They had their starter, they had their backup. So like he's the third stringer. There's no question. He gets to just sit there and learn. Whereas Richardson, it was, we're going to wildly overdraft you. We're going to shove you out there. We're going to then be mad about it and pull you out and then put you back in. And then you get hurt and you're just like, okay, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Richardson because the team then announced, what was it the other day, that, hey, we have allowed him to go out and look for a trade.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that like the kiss of death?
Yes.
When the team says, hey, go out and try to find a trade.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of the team saying, hey, go out and find a trade, and that team and that person finding a trade?
It happens
every once in a while, like rarely.
Yeah, and it sounds like for Richardson, there's not really any takers.
No, he should become a tight end. Actually, is what my thought is. Learn how to catch the ball, become more versatile, and I wouldn't be surprised if he winds his way down in New Orleans, where he could learn from the guy who plays quarterback and tight end and punt returner sometimes and things like that. That's an
interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, Taysom's not on their roster anymore, I don't think, though.
He was as of last year, I thought.
Yeah, I thought they were moving on from him this offseason.
It's possible. So, but I wouldn't be surprised because I really feel like he's got a big frame and he's not small. Like 260 pounds at 6'4", 6'5" is tight end material. So if he can catch the ball some, the problem is maybe blocking. He's going to get bull rushed and bowled over sometimes if he gets in the way of some of these linebackers just because he doesn't know what he's doing there. But a big guy who's got some girth to him and can catch a ball is going to make some sense. It's like it would make some sense for any team that needs a tight end. I mean, I keep hearing that
you can't.
Everybody in the world is calling me today. It's just
gotcha.
I'm always looking at another screen to look up something when it happens too. So I'm like, oh crap, did I do? Oh no, it's not.
Did I exit out of the screen? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, this is the equivalent of I think we should see other people when the team tells you time to look for a trade. They're like, yeah. you know.
Yeah. Anytime you're hearing that phrase, it's time for you should go test the market. That's the it's not me, it's you.
It's you. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
either way, it's I feel that I mean, there's a like I said, I heard that about Richardson because you guys just mentioned him, and quarterbacks that don't make it on a certain team and they've kind of fallen off. I mean, certain guys automatically are equipped to hold a clipboard.
Right.
I don't think he is.
No. But I mean, they just made so many mistakes with Richardson. He got way overdrafted, given what you saw in college or what you didn't see in college. Way overdrafted. Threw him out there, yanked him back, threw him out there, yanked him back. Like, they just mismanaged the whole Richardson situation. Do I think he was good enough to be like, no, but is all of this his fault too now? And I think you saw Richardson and you saw Milroe, who had, way more starts, and they were like, let's not make the same mistake again with a guy who's got similar traits. So let's push him back. But no, the Colts mismanaged the whole Richardson situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing is not only did you mismanage it, but then you did it in a way that you completely crushed his confidence too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, someone's probably going to take a flyer on him, right? He's not going to get what he wants, but someone will probably, well, I mean, I guess that depends on what the Colts think they want in return too. Because
right.
to this point here, Daniel Jones is, really likely to not be with the Colts next year. Like he played well enough. Someone's going to give him some money, and he still has to come back from injury also. So, it's unfortunate for him to get hurt the way he did. But someone's going to give him some money. It may or may not be the Colts. But then, yeah, they just have Riley Leonard at that point. And again, his college career wasn't terrible, right? Like he looked good in moments during this season. So maybe they're happy with Riley Leonard as being their option.
Yeah. I think it just feels like it's about to be a lost year for the Colts coming up. So, to your Texans point, that makes it just a little bit easier to return if you do shore up your team. But I think the Jones injury really just derailed a lot of stuff. Oh, he said, you know what? Hate all this. Done.
No, it was funny. I could see he was frozen. I was like, I wonder if it's going to come back or if he's just going to be like, poof.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. No, it does feel like a lost year for the Colts, and especially with the Jones situation. And then, like, how does he come back? Do we want to give him money for the future? Like, that's just going to be an interesting thing. So
no, absolutely.
But yeah, Riley's definitely not ready. He kind of just has backup quarterback vibes about him right at this exact point. Like, hey, let me come in, start 2 or 3 games, but you do not want me for the whole season. So, and I feel like in college he was a little bit more of a runner than a thrower at times too, and I don't think that helps him.
Yeah, he was before he got to Notre Dame. He had a solid campaign with Notre Dame. But yeah, I don't think he's necessarily ready to be your starter, but he has shown up in spots, right?
Right.
At the same time, that division, you could mess around with Riley at the helm and win.
Yeah.
So,
I think it depends on what you think of the Jags. I wouldn't want, the 2 games against the Texans, he's not a guy that I want to throw out there, but you got to think, the Titans are gettable. The Jags, how long does Trevor Lawrence actually keep up the end of last year? So that's interesting. So no, it is. And I don't think you don't really think of juggernauts in the AFC anymore, to be honest. You look at the last 2 teams that made it, and they just got there, their quarterbacks were their second year. So do they get better from there, or do you fear those teams yet? So the AFC is interesting. I think it's still wide open. So.
And you can bet on what Pag says went wrong on his screen using the QR code on the screen, up to 125%, 3% bet guarantee. You cannot do that as an actual prop bet. So just be aware, you will not find that in their list. And of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, use QR code on the screen right here. Free 5-day pass. Any of the True Fusion Gym locations, Bellevue, Ballard, University Village, Pilates Boot Camp, Yoga Bar, and more. Find your edge, True Fusion Gym. And of course, here he is. What's up, man?
I have No idea. All of a sudden, everything just went black. I was like, "What just happened?" Literally, was like unsure about anything. I'm like, "Did I lose power? Like, what? What?" Just everything just was like done. I'm like, "Oh, great." Chose that moment to do a full reset. I was like, "Oh, perfect."
That's the
Yeah,
worst when it does the
yes.
auto update and you're just like, oh yeah, in the middle of a thing and it's like poof. You're like,
Yes.
Especially if you're running a show and it's close to the end where you're supposed to sign out and you're just like, well, I guess we're gonna run long.
The good thing about having a phone is that you can always log on with the phone and just kind of log off that way, but not with a computer. And like literally, it was just like it went blank. I was like, "What is going on?" And of course, I was in the middle of saying something. I don't even remember what it was.
Yes, it was very dramatic too. I was like, "Oh, did we just mess up?" Is he?
It's like,
it was funny because I saw you freeze up, and then I was just like, "Oh, I wonder if it's like the internet connection. You'll come back, or if you'll drop all the way out." And then you were just like, "Poof!" I was like, "Well, there he goes."
Didn't like what I had to say.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's bad when your computer's just like, no, this is nonsense. Just no.
Yes.
Never a dull moment.
So with the last little bit here, should talk a little hockey. Kraken come out with the win last night, and it was a slow start to the game. So it was a slow enough start that even the arena was quiet. And so that was something you're really not used to in the Northwest in general, right? Like all of our stadiums are loud, they're rocking all the time. That first period, they'd already had like 3 shots on our goal in the first minute. And I mean, you're just like, oh, this game could get crazy quick because they were just peppering shots. But nothing was really getting going in that first period. And it was quiet enough that you were just hearing the echo of puck slap. And again, weird because you're not used to that. I mean, usually there's at least, music from the sound guy. And for whatever reason, it was just really quiet in there for most of that first period. And then opening the second period, they get a goal real early, and they get another one called back from an offsides penalty. And then they turned right around and put the second one in the net. Then it started to wake up in there. But it was crazy. That first 20 minutes was just so quiet.
Yeah.
That's interesting that they scored 3 goals there, and one just got disallowed. But and you still got outshot in that period, 14-6 in the second period. To have 2 goals, really 3 goals in that period, and 6 or 7 shots is,
Well, the thing that is unique, I guess, is when you're looking at the Hurricanes, they just throw shots at the net, right? Like they're shooting as soon as they touch it. If they're in the range, they're putting it on net, and I'm not mad at that, right? Like if you take the shot, eventually something's going to go in.
Right.
Seattle, on the other hand, has a tendency to almost kind of get cute with it. Like they like to pass the puck around a lot, and a lot of times they will pass off of what would have been a good shot anyway. And that's where they end up losing possession, especially against a team like the Hurricanes, which is a very fast team. And so when you see the puck going, east to west in there, it gets intercepted a lot with a team like the Hurricanes. So, but the few shots that they did get were good shots. So,
well, only out of 15. So I mean, that's literally, Again, I feel like that you're right. You have to put it on net a little bit more. Like Carolina does what I was talking about you yesterday, even off the air, where I said that they have to put the pucks on the net. They have to get the rebounds.
Yep.
You want to bounce these pucks off of the goalie's pads and have somebody there that's driving the net and being able to kind of put that puck back into a spot where the goalie's not. That's what I wish the Flyers would do a little bit more. They're starting to. They're starting to do this a little bit because the Flyers got a W yesterday in overtime, went to the shootouts. And hey, listen, every 2 points now, you need every 2 points that's going to happen. Toronto's behind us, so I'm not as concerned about the 3rd-point game when there's somebody behind us. It's you don't want those 3-point games when you're chasing them down.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was literally okay. Toronto scored first. For some reason or another, the Flyers have a thing in the first and the third period. They come out slow and pick it up by the end of the first. Second period, they're like dead space. Third period, they get their legs back under them because they're a young team. You should be able to start out skating teams at the end of games just because you're youth. But they are starting to put more pucks on the net and trying to get those rebounds, which is the way I would like to see them play a lot more frequently.
Yeah.
Still need that goal scorer. We still need a goal scorer.
I was going to say, what moves do you make going into, again, the trade deadline's Friday. So I don't think that Seattle does anything.
Yeah, and the hard part is that there isn't anybody that you could just that's available that's a goal scorer. Yeah. Because if they're a goal scorer and they are on their last year of their contract, there's not much that you're going to be able to do. Like there's the teams that have are going to have more, and the teams that have not, you just don't have enough to be able to entice team to be able to trade him away. So that's kind of where I feel there's going to be moves, and you're going to see like Giroux, like Claude Giroux, I think is somebody that you could see move, who's got just the remaining time on his contract, and he's still a veteran presence and can still assist a guy who might be a goal scorer and such. I don't know if he's a fit for the Flyers. I kind of feel like that he'd be a better fit for the Kraken, just because he could bring a different set of eyes to a second line there or a third line there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like if he was on the second or third line, like I could see that.
Yeah, but there's not first line guys that are available.
Yeah.
Is this really late to have a trade deadline? I didn't realize the NHL's was like this late in the season.
So because of the Olympics, normally the trade deadline would have been somewhere around the 21st of February. But because the Olympics and that's where the trade deadline would have fallen, it went to March 6th. So they gave everybody 2 weeks time to see what was going on after the Olympics to see if you can solidify your roster. And trades are starting to happen now. Like it's like you're starting to pick up. So defensemen is really where people are starting to go. It's like everybody's trying to shore up their defense at the moment. And you're getting like the Oilers picked up a defenseman. The Avalanche and the Penguins swapped defensemen. So you're going to see a lot of defense. There's a couple of, like the Islanders have added somebody and like forwards and such, but I don't see them making really big returns for these teams. They might get somebody who gets hot just because, hey, I'm playing on such a terrible team and now I'm in a playoff spot. That energizes me. And that makes me feel a little bit better. And you start to get somebody who starts to get hot, and that heat can carry over. But that's like flash in the pan stuff.
Yeah.
And I know Mr. Alabama knows probably not much about hockey.
Not at all.
He's
Not at all.
over there watching
I'll-
TV right now. Like,
Yeah. I'll watch during the playoffs and stuff, and it's exciting. And we're gonna try and get to a couple games in the next couple of years. But look, it's hot down here, man. We don't get iced. Even when they build it indoors, it melts. So
Yeah, I got to imagine Carolina's probably the closest team to you.
Carolina. No, you don't have one in Tennessee, or did Atlanta get rid of theirs? Isn't there one in Tennessee?
No, nope. The Tennessee's got one in there.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, they kind of play in the West, which is
Very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Geography doesn't have anything to do with East and West.
Yeah. Across all sports, nobody really cares about that kind of stuff. They slot them where they want to slot them and say, work it out.
yeah. Anything past West Virginia is considered West. I guess.
I mean, based on some of these
Bad
things,
difference.
anything after Maine is West. So
True.
before we get out of here, for tomorrow's show, we do have a guest coming in. And so we have MMA fighter Jonathan Haynes. He is 5-2, has won his last 5, and is going up against a guy that's 3-0. So this is going to be a good fight. Their fight is scheduled for the 27th and down at the Hard Rock in Sacramento. So we're going to have him on the show tomorrow. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And outside of that, we do have to get out of here. If you're listening on the radio, stay tuned. Coming up next, some smooth jazz headed your way. Otherwise, we'll see you all tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.